Ambree, and today we're going to build a birdhouse.
So this birdhouse design is based on one that was originally built by a friend of mine's grandpa. Everybody knew him as the Bluebird Man, and he was really committed to making sure that there was safe places for bluebirds to build their nests so they couldn't get attacked by the birds. And we're going to build it today and show you how. This is something that Ambree is going to be selling when she goes to farmer's market this year. All of our girls have items that they sell at our local farmer's market, and this is what she wants to use for hers this year. So, hope you enjoy the video. So the first piece we're going to cut for our birdhouse is the back, and it is 18 inches long. I should also tell you that everything for this birdhouse is going to be made out of 1x8 or using pine. You could use any softwoods you have available. So let's go ahead and measure this. Okay, can you put a pencil mark on this side? Good job. We're going to be using a hand saw to cut all these pieces. You certainly could use power tools if you want, but for Ambree, this is probably going to be the easiest and safest way for her to do this, because sometimes when you're not as experienced using a hand saw, it's difficult to cut a straight line. One of the things I found is very helpful is to clamp a board on the edge of your line and then use that as a cutting guide with a saw, and it allows her to get a pretty good straight cut. So we're going to clamp this on, and then she will saw it off. Can you stand in front of me? Let's turn it over. Okay, we're going to use that side. Okay. Oops. Oh, hold on. Alright, so we had to turn our workbench around. I wasn't thinking about Ambree being a right-handed cutter. I've been trying to come up with a workbench that's short enough for kids to use, so I've started building a top for this, and I'm just using a bench from our outdoor dining table. But anyway, so we've got the straight edge clamped on, and we've got our line marked, and Ambree's going to start cutting, and I'm just going to guide her a little bit, and we're going to cut our first board. Here we go. So. Nice cut. So you can see with the cutting guide, it's actually a pretty nice straight cut. So good job. We'll get ready to mark our next piece. So the next board we're going to cut is for the front of the birdhouse, and it's going to be 10 inches long. So get your tape measure. Okay, so put that on there. We're going to go, let's go this way. Here, turn it this way. So can you put a mark where it says 10? Good job. Okay, and we're going to put the square on here, and can you draw a line all the way across? Good job. Okay, we're going to clamp this back with our cutting guide, and we will start cutting. Can you give me the clamps? Okay, grab your saw. Good job. Now the last cut we need to make from the 1x8s, I'm going to cut for her. On the lid there's a 22.5 degree angle, so I'm going to cut that with a chop saw. So I will do that right now. So like I said, for the lid, this is going to have a 22.5 degree cut on it. So I've got my saw set to that, and this board is 8 inches long to the long edge of the angled cut. So now we're going to cut the boards for the sides of the birdhouses. They are also at a 22.5 degree angle, and I'm going to put a mark here at 12.5 inches. This is going to be to the long side of the cut. And if we cut this angle once, then we can flip it over and use that for the other side of the birdhouse also. So I'm going to use a speed square to line that up, 22.5 degrees. And Ambree, can you draw a line on there? And while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and mark the other line. Again, from this point, we're going to come down 12.5 inches, and then that'll give us the two sides of a birdhouse. I should mention that before we did this, I ripped this board down to 5 3/4 inch for the sides. The sides in total are 1.5 inches narrower than the front and the back. Ready to cut? Okay. Okay. Go ahead and start cutting. Ooh, let me help you get started. Remember, long strokes. That board must have been a little bit warped. It was pinching our saw blade as we got about 2/3 way through the cut, so I had to finish it for Ambree. But that one also looks pretty good. Okay, go ahead and set that one down. And we'll move our cutting guide over to cut the last straight line for our sides. And now we need to cut a board for our bottom. Now, usually I wait and I cut the board on the bottom after we've assembled everything, just in case it's a little bit out of square, or if the hole for the opening on the bottom is a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller than we thought, we can cut it accordingly. So we're gonna cut this piece last. Let's go ahead and look at all of our pieces. We'll do a little bit of sanding. We're gonna pre-drill some holes for screws, and then we can start assembling. So the other thing we need to do is drill the hole for the birds to enter the birdhouse. We're going to use a 1.5 inch Forstner bit. Depending what type of bird you think is going to be using this birdhouse, you should probably research to see if it should be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. I know this size originally was designed to use with bluebirds because they can get in and out, but some of the birds that go in and try to kill eggs or destroy their eggs can't get in and out of the birdhouse. So the size of the hole is important. We're going to make our hole down 3 inches, and then we're going to put it on the center of this board. Since this board is 7 1/4 inches wide, a really easy way to find the center of the board is to go to put your ruler at an angle. I'm going to use 8 inches, and 1/2 of 8 is 4 inches. So I'm going to put a mark at the 4, and that will find the center of my board. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and drill this hole about halfway through and then finish it from the other side. Okay, I'm going to do this part, okay? Put it back on there. Okay. Is that good? There we go. Now we need to pre-drill holes for all the screws that are going to hold this together. So we're going to bring these in 3/8 of an inch and mark them. And then we'll come up about 1.5 inches from the top and bottom on both sides. Okay, so there's for the front. Can you get the back of the birdhouse?
The back?
Yep, right here. Okay, can you give me one of the sides? Okay, so come in 3/8 of an inch there, and 3/8 of an inch there, and you find the board for the lid. We're also going to need 2 screw holes in the top of the lid so we can get it on and off if needed to clean out the nesting box. And Ambree is going to help me drill these holes because they're not with the big bit. So why don't you come around on this side, Ambree? Everywhere we see a dot, we're just going to drill one little hole. You ready? So come on this side behind me. I want you to squeeze the trigger. We're going to make sure it's lined up straight, up and down. Okay, squeeze the trigger. So there's 4 holes in the back. We'll do 1 hole on each side, right there. Here's the 2 holes for the lid. And we'll also get 4 holes in the front of the birdhouse. All right.
So what's this hole for?
That's not a hole. So,
What is it?
and Ambree's gonna go ahead and sand these lightly, and then we will screw them all together. So Ambree is going to go ahead and start sanding all these boards with 150 grit sandpaper. I'm going to help her out a little bit. So go ahead and get started. Let's put the board over here. Yep. Okay, we are ready to start screwing this together. We're going to work on this part. This is probably one of the harder parts for Ambree to do on her own. We're going to use 1.5" screws. They're for outdoors and they have the star drive on them. We're not going to glue anything because parts of this you do want to be able to disassemble over time to clean out the bird's nest at the end of each year. So we are going to start by screwing the sides onto the back. So why don't you pick up your drill. Okay, you stand on the end over here. Okay, come on this end of the workbench. And now I might have to get the first screw started for you, okay? And then once we get it in, you can do a little bit more screwing. But they're already going in straight. Okay, now if you want to grab the drill. Okay, put it in the first screw hole. Okay, you got to turn it so it's straight with the screw. Give me 1 second. You got to hold it so the screw and the drill are like one nice straight line. Go! Ooh, drill hard and fast. Push hard. You got to push hard. Hard work, huh?
It's heavy.
Okay, go. Okay, a little more. A little more. A little more. Stop. Okay, that looks pretty good. Go ahead and do the next one. Squeeze hard. A little more. Okay, stop. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to screw on the other side. So we need 2 more screws. Okay, pretty good. Okay. Now we're going to get our front. We need 4 screws. Okay, get this one ready. Okay, screw that in, Ambree. That's good. All right. So there's the main part. Next thing we need to do is put on the lid. For this, we're going to use some cabinet screws, just 2 of them so the head is exposed. Need to switch my screw bit. Okay. All right, so it's all assembled. Now we're just going to trim the board that's going to go in the bottom, and we're almost done. So, let's see. So that fits good that way. All right, so let's measure our opening. 5 5/8 inches. Okay, let's see if that fits in there. Does it? Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, the last thing we're gonna do is just cut some little 45-degree angle notches on this, because as you can see, once I get it in, it's really hard to get it out. But if those notches are on there, then you can just reach in and pull it out when you're cleaning out the bird's nest. Okay, we're gonna cut about 1.5 inches off of each corner at a 45-degree angle, and this is just gonna allow you to get a better grip on this to get the bottom out. Remember, forward and backward, nice and straight. Nice cutting, okay. And the other corner, let me get this started. Okay, put the saw up on the bench. We'll get 2 more screws, screw that in the bottom. Okay, can you help me screw this in? Here you go, you grab the drill. Let's turn it around for you. Okay. Okay, one hand on top. Put your hand on top of here. Yep. Yep. A little more. A little more. A little more. A little more. That's good. Okay. Hold that. I'll turn the box over. Yep. Good. Good. Keep going. Okay. Nice. And then the very last piece we need to cut is a little board that's going to go up here. We're going to glue this on and screw it on, and it just kind of holds the lid down in the back and then keeps any water from getting into the birdhouse. So we'll cut that next. It's also going to need a 22.5-degree bevel on the bottom, so I'm going to cut that piece with the table saw. Okay, let's cut this last board to length. Come right here. Okay, put your saw there on the line. We're just going to cut straight down the line. All right, so there's our last piece. We're just going to glue it here to the back of the birdhouse, put one screw in it. That will allow the lid to still come out if we need it to by taking out these 2 screws. So I'll get some glue.
Can I press it on? Can I press it on?
Yep. Why don't you lay the birdhouse on its back?
On the back?
Yep, lay it down flat. So come over here, Ambree. Good? Okay. Just let me get that started in there. There we go. And that's it. Our birdhouse is done. So, hope you had fun watching the video. We're going to leave this as unfinished wood because we're selling it at the farmer's market. We're going to let people paint it any color they want, but you could paint these on the outside. You don't have to paint them on the outside. When you hang it up, you can just put 1 or 2 screws in the top here. You could screw it to a fence post on your fence or to a tree in your backyard. And hopefully this gives you and your family a chance to do a fun project and watch some birds. What did you enjoy most about making this, Ambree?
Cutting on the bottom.
Okay, yeah. So if you don't have one of these saws, you should get one. It's a Japanese pull saw. I find that they are super easy for kids to use. They're really sharp. They have a really fine curve, and they don't require quite as much strength to use them. So is it pretty easy to use? All right, yeah, we'll have a link on the video to where we got this saw. And so if you have any questions or comments, be sure to share those, and we hope that you will like and subscribe to this video. Thanks for watching.